ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति सपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादां रघुनाथान्वितां सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितां च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। पाञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So today we'll be starting with the chapter 14, that is the modes of material nature. Okay, before going to this chapter, I'll just offer my pranamas. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much everyone for joining this call. So today we'll be discussing about chapter 14, that is the modes of the material nature. Okay, so most of you have heard about the modes of material nature in SSR, but today we'll be discussing in detail about this. Okay, so like every week we'll be doing a quick recap of the previous chapter, that is chapter 13. So anyone remember what is the name of the chapter 13? You can raise your hand. Yeah, Sanvi. Yes, Sanvi.
Yes, Mataji, it's Kshetragna Vibhaga Yoga.
Very good. And do you remember what are the 6 questions which Arjuna asked in this chapter?
No, Mataji.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, sir, Rohan.
Qualities of super. Mataji, I didn't join to before classes.
Okay, no problem. So who wants to say what are the 6 questions which Arjuna asked to Krishna? Yes, Akshaya. Akshaya, can you unmute?
Mataji.
Yeah, go ahead, Akshaya.
Mataji, నాకు తెలియదు మాతాజీ.
తెలీదా?
తెలీదంటే మర్చిపోయా మాతాజీ.
Okay, so who remembers what are the 6 questions? We discussed about 6 topics in that chapter. I told you this entire chapter is revolving around those only. I'll just give a hint or just give a try anyone. Like Kshetra, Kshetragna. Anyone remember now? No? Wow, this is surprising this time. Okay, I'll tell you. So we discussed about the 6 questions which Arjuna was asking to Krishna. That is about Kshetra, which is the body. Kshetragna, which is the knower of the body, that is the soul and the super soul. And then we discussed about Gnanam, that is knowledge. And we discussed about Gnayam, what is the object of the knowledge. And then we discussed about Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti is the material nature and Purusha is the Supreme Lord. Okay. So here in these sections, the first section we discussed about these questions. What are the 6 questions which Arjuna asked? And then we discussed about the knowledge and how to gain this knowledge. So here Krishna was explaining about the most important quality. So what is the most important quality? That is constant unalloyed devotion. And then the essential qualities, accepting a bona fide spiritual master. And there are so many other important qualities which Krishna was explaining about humility, non-violence, having a non-envious nature, then detachment. There's so many other qualities we discussed. Then in the third section, we discussed about the soul and super soul. That what are the attributes of the soul? So the attributes of the soul is like it is eternal, but we have to understand that we are the subordinates to Krishna and that we belong to the spiritual world. Okay. And what is the attributes of the super soul we discussed? Like Krishna is all pervading and he is the origin of senses and he resides in the hearts of everyone. And in the fourth section, we discussed about who is the real enjoyer. So we have to understand who is the real enjoyer. Based on that, we can attain the perfection in the life. And then when we, in the last chapter, we understood how we can become a Gnana Chakshu, how we can have that third eye, that is the vision. So that is by understanding this knowledge. And once we acquire this Gnana Chakshu, what is the destination of the people also we discussed. So now let's move on to this particular section, today's chapter. So in this today's chapter, we have 4 sections. So the first section is what are the 3 modes we'll discuss. And the second section is recognizing a mode supremacy. So we will understand which mode is actually dominant in us. That we'll understand in this particular section. In the third section, we will understand about acting and dying. Like if a particular person is in a particular mode and if he dies at the time of death, if he leaves the body in that mode, what is the destination they will attain? That we will discuss in this particular third chapter. And then in the fourth chapter, we'll be discussing about how to transfer these modes. So we have 3 modes, right? So we have to go beyond these 3 modes. So we have to become a Gunatita. How to become that also Krishna is explaining here. So we'll discuss about the first chapter now. So what are the key learnings in this chapter is the 3 modes. That is how and to what extent does this modes bind to us. See, the soul actually takes the body, right? For example, we are all in the human form. So we took the human form. As soon as we take, the soul takes the form of this body, right? From that day onwards, this modes actually bind us here. Okay, so for example, all of you know, all of you have been using a laptop because it is locked down, right? So all of you know that smartphones and laptops and everything, right? So to actually function, for the laptop to function, you have to install some software, right? So if you install that software, it will do a particular job, right? Same way, these modes are installed within us. They're installed within us. So in that way, they function. So if there is mode of goodness in us, we function in that way. If there is mode of ignorance, we function like that. So that is a small example to understand the modes. We'll have more examples and stories. And then we'll discuss about the modes and impact on the death. If a particular person is in a mode of ignorance during the time of birth, what he is his destination after death, that also we'll discuss. And is there a way to overcome the mode? So that is the 4th section. In the 4th section, we will be discussing about how to transcend this mode, how to become a Gunatita. That we'll discuss in this. So these are the key learnings. So what are the 3 modes you can see in this picture, right? There are 3 people and you can see like there are 2 gentlemen here and these people are getting entangled by these 3 modes. Based on these 3 modes, they're acting in that way. So let's see in detail. So before going into this mode, we'll discuss about a short story. So it is the 4 idiots. Okay, so there was a king. So one time the king actually called his minister and he said like, just go around the kingdom and find 4 idiots and bring them to the palace the next day. Then this minister agreed and he went into the kingdom. He went outside to look for people who is an idiot. So he came across this one person who is actually traveling in a bullock cart. Okay, the bullock cart had full of grains, like bags of grains in his bullock cart. And then what happened is, this particular person who is sitting on the bullock cart, he is actually holding one bag on his head. Then this minister actually went there and he was asking, why is that you're holding this bag on your head? Then that particular person, he responded saying that, see, this bullock cart, this bulls actually, they're too much of weight for them. So I'm trying to actually save them from taking some of the load. But how stupid he is he's sitting on the bullock cart and he's carrying that bag on his head. So obviously that weight again is falling on the bull's belly, right? So he thought, this minister thought, okay, this is stupid idiot number one. So he brought that person. Next, again, he was traveling and he was going around places, and this time he found another person who was living in a olden days. We have those houses, right, with bricks and everything. So there is a creeper lying on the house and there was a ladder for that house. Then what happened is, what this person is doing is, the cow actually has to eat the grass. But this person, how stupid he was is, he is actually making the cow climb that ladder to actually eat that creeper. And he was saying that I don't want to give stress to my cow. So that's why I am actually taking my cow to climb the ladder to eat rather than actually cutting and bringing and everything. So the minister thought, this is stupid idiot number two. So the next day he actually came to the king and he showed the two idiots. So this is what happened. These are the two idiots. Then the king said, I asked you to bring 4 idiots. But why did you bring actually 2 idiots? Then the minister said, because 2 other idiots are here only, he said. Then who are those idiots here? I never knew them. Then the minister said, I am idiot number 3 and you are idiot number 4. The king was so puzzled and he was so surprised. He was saying, you are calling me an idiot and you are calling yourself as an idiot? Why is that? Then this minister said, I went around the kingdom. I met so many people. So many people are suffering. They don't have food. They're in so much of distress. But in spite of working on them, we are actually trying to find idiots. And like an idiot, because you just instructed me without even thinking a second, I went around to find an idiot. So we are the biggest idiots. That's what the minister mentioned. So what we have to understand is, like, there are 3 modes which people are bound when they actually come into this, when the soul actually takes the body. So this is how people behave. So now we have a verse, first verse, if anyone wants to read. Okay, who wants to read it? Harshini?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sarva yonishu kaunteya mutaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyoner aham bija pradah pita. Translation: it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in material nature, and that I am seed giving father.
Very good. So this sloka, I think you have learned in SSP. So we have to understand that every living being, by taking birth in this material world, is bound to these 3 modes of material nature. And we have to understand that Krishna is the father. Okay, he is the seed giving father. So Krishna is a father, and the Prakriti which we discussed is like a mother, because Prakriti actually gives us the body. Okay, understood? So here you have to understand that Krishna is a father and Prakriti is the mother. Okay. I think we have one more verse if anyone wants to read. Yeah, this is about the modes. Vishnu Priya.
Sattvam rajastama guna prakriti sambhavaha nibadnanti mahabaho dehe dehi nama avyayam. Translation: material nature consists of the 3 modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes.
Very good. So here in this particular verse, Krishna is explaining about the qualities or the modes of the material nature. So this in Sanskrit is called as guna. So he's explaining about what are the three gunas. So we have mode of goodness, that is sattva. Then we have mode of passion, that is rajas. And we have the mode of ignorance, that is tamas. So Krishna is saying that any living being, when an eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, they become conditioned by these three modes. Okay, so these are the qualities of the three modes of nature we'll be discussing today. So here again in this picture you can see, right, there are three ladies here. They represent the three gunas and they're actually entangling these people here. So it is like us in this material world. Okay, we'll discuss in more detail. So in this particular section, first section, we'll be discussing what are the three modes. So these three modes, basically the three ropes which you have seen in the previous picture, right? So these three ropes are like the primary colors. So what are the primary colors? So you all know what are the primary colors, right? There are only three primary colors, but then we have number of colors. So what are the three primary colors? Yes, Akshay.
Mataji, red, blue, green.
Not green, Akshay, yellow.
Red, blue, yellow, ma'am.
Red, blue, yellow. So like the primary colors, using those primary colors, we can make multiple combinations, right? So these modes, some people will, they think, okay, this person is in mode of ignorance and this person is in mode of goodness. No, nothing like that actually. They're a combination. People can be in combination of different modes. Just like we have primary colors, using this primary colors, we can make multiple combinations of colors, right? Like that, in people, there will be different combination of these three modes. For example, for some, like the mode of goodness might be prominent. For some, the mode of passion might be prominent. For some, the mode of ignorance might be prominent. And for example, a person might be like 70% in goodness, and maybe 20% in ignorance and 10% in passion. Like that it might be, yeah. And also we'll be discussing about qualities that affect. Vishnupriya, you have any question, Amma? Yes, Vishnupriya.
For example, a king.
Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Amma. Okay, fine. Yeah, okay, then, yeah. I saw you raising hand, that's why I was asking. Okay, so these ropes, these gunas are like the primary colors, and the qualities that affect every aspect of our lives, like character, behavior, our approach towards life, like whatever step we take to do anything in our life is actually impacted by these gunas, these three gunas, and these impact us at various levels. So we'll see what are those levels. So here you can see the gunas or the modes of material nature. We have sattva guna, that is the mode of goodness, rajo guna, that is the mode of passion, tama guna, that is the mode of ignorance. So a person who is in sattva guna, right, he will be always happy and he'll be very knowledgeable. Okay. And the person who is in rajo guna, he will have a lot of attachment, so many desires, so much of hankering. He will always feel like having more and more. There is no end for their desire. Like if they have a double bedroom, right? They will hanker to go for a 3-bedroom. Once they achieve the 3-bedroom, 4, then villa, like that they keep going on, going. There is no end for their desires. So that is Rajoguna, passion, okay? And Tamoguna, that is ignorance. So these Tamoguna people are very lazy and they actually oversleep. So sleeping is not bad. We have to sleep the right amount of time which is required for us. But some people are so lazy that they sleep for 12 hours like that. And they're always in delusion and madness. They're very crazy. So these are people in Tamoguna. Okay. So here we'll discuss about the story of 3 fish to understand what these gunas are. So they lived like 3 fishes, okay, in a small pond sort of thing. It is a small pond, and this fish is, one fish is in mode of goodness, the other fish is in mode of passion, the other fish is in mode of ignorance. So one time there came a like fisherman, and the fishermen were actually talking with other fishermen saying that this pond actually has so many fish. Tomorrow I'll bring my net and I'll catch all the fish. Then the fish which is in mode of goodness actually hears that, and it comes and tells to the other two of her friends. She says, see, there is a fisherman here. He is saying that he is going to catch us tomorrow. Let's actually escape from this pond so that we don't get bound by his nets tomorrow. Then the fish which is in mode of passion, that will say, see, tomorrow he'll come. There we still have 24 hours. Why are you worried now only? Let's think about it tomorrow. Just forget it. Go from here. The fish which is in mode of passion will say. The fish which is in mode of ignorance, what it will say? It will say, don't worry about that. We'll hear so many people talking all rubbish outside. You don't need to believe all that. Just leave. That is the fish talking about, which is in mode of ignorance. Then this fish which is intelligent, right? Because it is in mode of goodness, right? So it actually was traveling. So it was thinking of ways how to actually escape, because tomorrow the fisherman will come, it will catch all of us. So it was thinking of ways to actually escape from the pond. So it was traveling. At one point, it actually found there is a small stream kind of thing. And that stream is actually leading into a bigger lake sort of thing. So this fish which is in mode of goodness, right? The sattva fish, right? It actually escaped towards the lake. The next day morning, as usual, as said by the fisherman, he came with the net, and he actually is trapping the net. Then this fish which is in mode of passion, it understood, oh my God, the fisherman came now, I have to escape. So somehow it struggled, and finally it actually went and reached that stream and it escaped. And the fish which is in mode of ignorance, right? It actually was got caught. So we have to understand that the fish which is in mode of ignorance. So these people basically, they plan everything well ahead so that they won't have any anxiety, because everything is planned right. Nothing to worry. Everything will go by plan. So these are the people which are in mode of goodness. And the second type of people, the people which are in mode of passion, these people, they keep everything to the last minute. They'll say, okay, we still have time. Let's see. So they postpone things. And in the end, they suffer with anxiety. They suffer with depression. Understood? And the final people, the people who are in ignorance, they are very lazy. Even though they know that something is going to happen, they know that they have to plan, but they don't plan. They'll be very lazy and they will be always in delusion. Okay, understood the story? Yeah, so again, here one more story we have. So if you see this picture, right? This picture is from Ramayana. Okay, all of you know Ramayana, right? So here, so in Ramayana, one time what happened is Dashrad, he actually got a very bad dream, and he even actually saw some bad omens. So immediately he actually called his ministers and he decided to actually coronate Rama, basically to actually announce the next prince of Ayodhya. He thought that I'm going to die in the next few days, so I actually have to announce the next prince. Then what happened? Unfortunately, at that time only, Bharat Maharaj and Shatrughna, they actually were in their grandparents' house. They're not in Ayodhya. So this news actually, like fire, it traveled through the entire kingdom. And all of you know, right? Like Dashrath Maharaj, he has 3 queens. And from his 3 queens, he has 4 princes. Okay. So, and the entire Ayodhya and everyone are so fond of Rama. On hearing this news, everyone were so happy, because everyone like Rama, right? So Rama becoming the prince of taking the throne of Ayodhya, they'll be obviously very happy. So this news spread like that, and it actually reached Manthara. So Manthara is the lady who actually stays with Kaikeyi. So out of the 3 wives, Dashrath he actually likes, and Kaikeyi is very dear to Dashrath. So what happened is, this Mantra actually heard that news and she ran to Kaikeyi saying that, see, Dashrath is actually thinking of announcing the prince of Ayodhya as to give the throne of Ayodhya to Rama. And she said that to Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi actually, she's a very good lady only. She happily accepted that news. See, she in fact, Acharyas say that she in fact took a golden necklace from her neck and she actually rewarded that to Manthara. Then Manthara was so upset, she got very irritated and she shouted at Kaikeyi saying that, hey, what foolish lady, what are you doing? Your king is actually awarding the entire kingdom to Rama and it's not to your son. And she actually polluted Kaikeyi's mind with so many words saying that, see, this doesn't seem to be good. See, if Rama takes the throne, right, he's going to throw Bharat to exile. And nothing will be there. So far, you are very dear to Dashrath. Now, Kaushalya will become very dear to Dashrath if Rama takes the throne. Like this, she was polluting. And she used one simple point, right? And this news is announced when Bharat is not there in the kingdom. Why should he even announce when Bharat is not there? So seeing this, can you not understand what Dashrath is trying to do? Can you not understand? She was polluting her mind like that. And Kaikeyi, unfortunately, she was actually listening to whatever Mantra said. And she actually went and asked for two boons. The first boon is like Rama should be sent to exile for 14 years. And the second boon is Bharat has to take over the throne of the Ayodhya. See, when Kaikeyi Mantra is actually talking about these boons, Kaikeyi, in fact, she actually asked Mantra saying that, okay, let's ask Bharat to actually become the king of the kingdom. But why are you saying that Rama should be sent to exile? Then this Mantra told, see, entire Ayodhya is very fond of Rama. They won't immediately accept Bharat Maharaj if Rama is there in this kingdom. So we have to send him away to exile. So in that, for 14 years, so in that particular time, then the entire people will get used to Bharat Maharaj and they will accept Bharat Maharaj. Then finally she actually talked and you all know that Rama went to exile. And then there is another character. So why we are discussing all this, I will let you know how it is related to this three gunas. So we discussed about Manthara, one lady here, and we discussed about Kaikeyi, two people. So we need one more lady to actually cover this three gunas, right? So when actually Lakshman heard that Rama is going to go away for exile, Lakshman actually came to Rama and said, my dear brother, I am actually going to come along with you to the exile. I am going to accompany wherever you're going. Then Rama immediately, he did not agree. But later on, he said, okay, go and ask your mother. And if your mother is okay, then I will, you can come along with me. Then Lakshman was like, okay, will my mother agree? So he was so apprehensive whether his mother is going to accept and all. So he went to his mother. He went to his mother and he was asking her if he wanted to ask actually. He just went to his mother and he wanted to ask if she will allow, like who is Lakshman's mother? Sumitra. So he wanted to ask his mother if he can go along with Rama. Then even before her asking, what Sumitra said, see, your brother is going to go on an exile. You have to accompany your brother wherever he goes and you have to serve them. Your brother is like your father and Sita Devi is like your mother. So you have to serve them and that is the perfection of your life. This is what Sumitra said. So why we are discussing about these three characters here is, see, Manthara, she was so selfish. See, the queen, Kaikeyi is actually maintaining her. So before even Kaikeyi's marriage, right, she has a hunchback actually. So she's not at all pretty or something. She was so ugly. So many people, they used to make fun of her. But then once she got this position, because she is like a secretary to Kaikeyi, Kaikeyi is a dear queen of Dashrath, right? So she got that position. And Kaikeyi was maintaining her from throughout so many years. But still, she didn't even worry about what Kaikeyi would think, or she didn't even worry about the concerns of Kaikeyi or Bharat Maharaj. Instead, she was just thinking about her own self. So that you can understand that she is in the mode of ignorance. And then you can see Kaikeyi. So Kaikeyi initially she was good, but then she got polluted by what Manthara was saying. So based on that, she actually got covered. Whatever goodness she had, it got covered, and she was acting in a mode of passion because she actually had that desire, that hankering that her son has to become the king of that kingdom. Okay. And then you can see the third lady, Sumitra. So Sumitra, if you see, she was very intelligent, and even before Lakshman coming and asking, she gave the right decision, and she has clarity and she has that knowledge, that intelligence. So we discussed a lot about this story so that you people can understand these are the different types of characters or behavior the people will have when they are on these three modes. Okay, understood? Yeah. So now, okay. So when sattva increases, right? When sattva guna actually increases, one will be very happy and wise. So this we can relate. So far you might be thinking, okay, we discussed about scriptures and this happened long time ago. How this actually matches with the present situation. So let's see that. So all of you know, right? Like from the past 1.5 years or 2 years, we know about COVID. Not even a small child or an illiterate, there is not even one person who doesn't know about COVID, right? Yeah. So in this COVID, what happened, we'll see. We'll just compare that with our lives. So if these are all from the newspapers which have been taken. Okay. So here you can see this family spent the lockdown at farms away from the buzz of the city. So these are like 3 pictures which we have wherein the families actually left everything here. They wanted to live close to the nature. They went to their hometown. Some of them went to their hometowns, leaving their professions. Some of them, because it is online, in spite of doing all their profession, they actually left to their village, and some of them were doing farming, and the entire family is staying together. So if you see this last picture, right? So this couple, they actually traveled to their hometown. They were spending time with their family, giving online classes from there. And what they did is they were actually saving Gomata. And they were actually getting up early in the morning, Brahma Muhurta, milking the cows, making them bathe. So these all families are living together and they're happy and intelligent and they're doing all good things. And some of them, they actually thought that we should stay away from the phone, and they actually left their phones aside. They would actually keep timings like, in a particular day, I have to use my phone only if it is important or some important calls if we have to attend, or else they won't even look at the phone. So these are the people who live in goodness. Next, we have this people in Rajas. So these people in Rajoguna, what happens is the people who are basically very passionate of having so many desires. They have uncontrollable desires to have everything in this world. They think this world is for their enjoyment. Whatever is there in this world, they wanted to have it. So their greed, hankering, it is so intense that they wanted everything. So here we can discuss about a story of a person who actually went to a particular sadhu because he's so greedy. He wants everything in this world. So he said he took a boon from that sadhu saying that, see, whatever I touch, it has to. The sadhu said, okay, sanction, go. So what happened the next day? He is a king basically. The next day, the maidservant came and offered him some juice in the morning. He just touched that, it became a golden juice. Can anyone drink a golden juice? No, right? So he was so upset. Then afterwards, she served him some breakfast. He touched that, it became gold. He cannot eat. So his mind was so disturbed. Then after some time, what happened? He went to a park or something. He just put his hand on a tree. The tree became gold. After some time, his granddaughter was coming towards him. And he actually touched her with love towards her. And she became a statue of gold. That is how these people in These people don't understand who are living in the mode of passion. They keep hankering until the end of their life. And their desires will not be fulfilled. So they will take birth, and this cycle of birth and death continues for them. Okay. So these are the people in. So this will relate to our present society. So this again is taken from the newspapers. You can see that now that, you know, everyone is working from home, everyone is having online classes, right? So you can read the news here. Lockdown impact. Diverse child custody cases spike across country, and Mumbai tops the chart. So this, what does this say? This says that because of the lockdown, everyone, entire family has to stay at home. So if you see the previous news, right? They were happily staying in the home together as a family, closer to the nature, everyone is happy. But then here, if you see, it is totally different because everyone has to stay in the home. They don't have proper understanding. They fight for petty things, and the divorce rate and child custody cases have increased. So these are the news related to that. And then we have the last guna, that is when tamo guna increases. That is a mode of ignorance. These people, they become very much illusioned, very lazy. They sleep for more time. They watch all stupid stuff on the TV. So everything basically. So these people, if you see the news, right? So this is also again a news which is taken. So rather than before lockdown, because of this lockdown, rather than becoming happy and becoming knowledgeable or enhancing the skills, whatever we have, these people, they have become alcoholic. They started watching objectionable sites. So this is how the people in mode of ignorance live. Okay, understood? Yeah. So these three modes, again, if you see in the chart, right, it will make it more clearer. So the people in goodness, they actually read books which are very motivational, like biography related, stuff like that. Whereas the people in passion, they read all thriller books, fiction, science. So these books they read. And the people in ignorance, they actually read all objectionable books and they visit those stupid websites and everything. And if we talk about work, the people in goodness, they might be in some teaching profession, and the people in passion, they always think that money is honey. They have to make money continuously, work 24/7 for them. And the people in ignorance, they become alcoholic and they become addicted to all these bad things. And the time of the day. So 4 a.m., the goodness, the Sattva Guna time, right? 4 a.m., that is from the Brahma Muhurta till noon, like until 12 o'clock, the Sattva Guna actually dominates. Okay. The passion, that is the Rajoguna, from noon, that is 12 o'clock in the afternoon, to 8 p.m. in the night, this mode dominates. And then the ignorance from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Okay. And if we come to music, right, these people actually listen to classical, soft music. But for the people in passion, right, they want the jazz, rock, pop and all. And ignorance, they always keep shouting, screaming. They wanted something which is always hammering. That sort of music these people like. Okay, understood? So that is the end of first section. So we spent some time on this to actually understand. So that is important to understand what are the modes. Okay. Yeah. Next, recognizing a mode's supremacy. So we say now we discussed about the modes, but it is important to understand which mode is dominant in us, which mode is actually dominating in us. So that is explained in this particular section, recognizing a mode supremacy. Okay. Sanvi?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah,
Rajastamascha sattvam bhavati bharata. Rajasattvam tamaschaiva tamasattvam rajastatha. Translation: sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
very good. Thank you. So this this we already discussed, right? So what is Krishna saying here? Like we discussed about the three colors we have, right? With those three colors, primary colors, we get combination of different colors. Like that, in each and every person, every living entity, they actually have these three modes. So some people, the mode of goodness will be dominant, defeating the other two modes. Some people, the mode of passion will be dominant, defeating the other two. That is what Krishna is saying in this particular verse. So when goodness dominates, what happens? When goodness dominates, they'll be always happy, they'll be knowledgeable, they'll try to read very good books, and they'll spend quality time when goodness dominates. But on the other hand, if passion dominates, right, they always have that hankering. They always have uncontrollable desires. They want to earn more, earn more. They will be never satisfied in their life. Because of that, what happened? They'll get angry. So that is really causing anxiety to them, and that causes depression because they cannot achieve what they want, right? And then we have next, when ignorance dominates, these people are very lazy, and these people, they become alcoholic. They actually sleep endless time, like more than 12 hours. They basically don't have any discipline. They're not at all sincere in anything. So we have to understand that. So here we have a life lesson, the first life lesson of today. Mahati?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
So many problems can be sorted out. Life would become so peaceful if we just don't react when we notice we are in lower mode.
Very good. So this is a very important life lesson to understand. See, when we realize that we are in a lower mode, right, it is better not to react to that. See, sometimes we will be in a situation where we cannot make any decision or something, right? Like whether it's good or bad, we will not have that clarity. When we don't have that clarity, it is better not to react to that. Then it will be very helpful and we'll be happy. And one more life lesson we have here. Atidi?
Yes, Mataji. Am I like this? Is she like this? Or it's just that we are controlled by our lower modes. Fighting over things would not matter after few days.
Very good. So we should stop actually thinking about, okay, why she is like that, why she is always fighting with me, or why he is like that, why he is always fighting with me. So we should not actually be worried about or be thinking in detail about that. And we have to understand that because we are being controlled by the lower modes, we are fighting about things. So if during such a situation arises, if we stay calm for some time and revisit that situation later on, we would actually avoid this conflicts also in our day-to-day life. That is this life lesson about. So here we can discuss about another story which is from Bhagavatam. So here you can see Narada Muni, and he is a hunter, Murari. So I think most of you know this pastime. So this hunter, what he would do is, he would actually kill animals, but not completely. He will kill them half. And he would enjoy when the animal is suffering for longer time, and then later on it will die. So one time Narada Muni was actually passing by that lane, and he actually saw this hunter doing that. And Narada Muni asked, what are you doing actually? If you kill them once, they will suffer the pain once and they will die. But what you're doing is not at all right. It is not at all correct. If you're killing them half, they had to suffer a longer time. Please stop doing this. Then this hunter said, I have to do it for my living and all. Then Narada Muni said, I will see that you don't have any problem for the food. I will give you everything. Just stop this and just chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we already discussed, right? Sadhu Sangha Hoye. So with that moment association with Narada Muni, he actually stopped doing this hunting business. He left everything. He started chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and so many people around him also, they saw him and they were so happy. After so many days, Narada Muni visited him in his hut. When Narada Muni was coming, right, while walking, he actually saw some ants around, and he thought that I should not kill the ants, and he used his own cloth, and with that cloth he pushed the ants towards the site without hurting them. So from the mode of ignorance, with the association of Narad Muni, by doing bhakti, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is by doing bhakti, he actually transformed into a higher mode. So it is really possible for a person who is in lower mode also to actually transcend to a higher mode. So the person who was killing all the animals half and enjoying their suffering now didn't want even to kill a small ant. That's how people can be transformed. Okay, understood this one? So now this is the third section. The third section talks about what is the destination of the people if they die in a particular mode. Okay. So
Yes, Mata.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्था मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्था अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः. Translation: Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds.
very good. So Krishna is giving here the detail of what is the destination of the people in different modes. So if a person who is in the mode of goodness, he actually descends to a higher planets. So we know, right, we have 14 planets and we have the top, higher, middle and lower. Okay, so the person who is in mode of goodness at the time of death, he actually transcends to the higher planets. But the person who is in mode of passion, he will actually transcend to the earthly planet. Okay, earthly planet is ours. And then the person who is in mode of ignorance, he actually transcends to the hellish planets, like lower species. He actually transcends into the lower species. So we have a tabular form here to understand that again. So the destination for a person in goodness is higher planets, and for a person in passion, it's earthly. And for the person in ignorance, it is lower species. Okay. The result of the action is, it is purity. The result of the person in passion is misery, means he is very greedy. Okay. And the person in ignorance is foolishness. And what is the effect of that? He gets real knowledge. Okay. And then this particular person, he'll be very greedy. And this particular person in ignorance is in madness or illusion. So here again we have a life lesson if anyone wants to read.
While starting in the body,
Staying.
staying in the body, one is preparing for the next. Make
responsible
choice. Hare
Very
Krishna.
good. Very good. So this is a very important life lesson again. So number of times we discussed this. So again, we have this life lesson. So while staying in this body, whatever we are doing in this life, we are preparing our body for the next. So we have to understand that, and we have to make responsible choices. Okay. One more life lesson. Who wants to read it? Harshit? Yes.
Death is not the ending of sufferings. It's just a forward journey from this transit. So, born on the proper flight for going back home, back to Godhead.
Very good. So this is also an amazing life lesson we have to understand. So many people think, okay, so they actually do because they cannot actually suffer because of their past deeds. They had to suffer, but then they want to escape the suffering and they actually commit suicides or something. They think that, okay, if I'm dead, nothing will be, that is the end, and it's end of the suffering also. No, that is not right, because that is not the end of suffering. It is just a forward journey we are making for the next life. So we have to understand that we have to take a proper flight so that we can go back to the Godhead. Okay. So this is the last section, that is transcending the modes. So far we are discussing about the 3 modes, and in the 3 modes, the destination after death, we discussed again, we come into this 14 planets only. So in this 14 planets, wherever we come, again we have to take birth, right? But we are talking about Bhakti Yoga and going back to Godhead. So how is that possible? Krishna is explaining here. So for the sake of us, so Arjuna is a Gunatita. He is beyond these three modes. He is like Shuddha Sattva. So beyond these three modes, there is another mode which is called as Shuddha Sattva. Okay, so Arjuna is Gunatita. He is beyond these modes. But he is asking these questions for the sake of us. Okay, so how to transcend this modes? He's asking. So he's asking, how can we actually identify the person if he is beyond this mode? Like, what are the symptoms of the person who has transcended these three modes, and what is his behavior, and how we can transcend beyond this modes? He's asking. So Krishna will be explaining about them here. So what are the symptoms Krishna was saying here? The symptoms of this particular people are, they'll be equipoised. Equipoised means we already discussed number of times, right? For them, everything is equal. Like even happiness or distress, when happiness, they don't get elated. When it is distressful situation, they don't get depressed. So they'll be equipoised, and they see each and every living being with equal vision. So tomorrow, if we go on the road and if we see the dog barking or something, we don't get irritated, because we know that because of their past karma, they actually took that body. But then we will see them with equal vision, because Paramatma is there inside them also. And they'll be neutral. They won't be indifferent, like some discussion is going on. They won't be neutral or indifferent like that. And they'll be free from hankering. These people, they don't basically hanker against the desires. I want this, I want that. They don't keep that hankering. They don't actually have unlimited desires. They'll be satisfied and content with what they have. And they are free from envy. So if their friends or relatives are having more than them, they actually are least bothered about that, because they are non-envious. And then there is a life lesson here, if anyone wants to read. Yeah, Vanshika and Srinika.
Hankering about the things you do not have will plunder the happiness of the present for a future that was never yours.
Very good. So hankering means hankering about the things you don't have. See, some people, they actually, they might be, because of their past karma or whatever it is, they might not be very fair or something like that. But they actually see other people, okay, that girl is so prettier than me. My face is like this. I don't have that sort of a body sort of thing. Some boy might think, okay, my friend is having a very like six-pack or something. I don't have that. So basically, if we hanker for things like that, right, we will never achieve them. Instead, what it will make us? It will make us stressful. And because of that hankering, right, it will actually give us another body, because we are actually desiring for that, right? So for that, again, we have to take birth, right? If it if that doesn't come to us in this particular body, in this particular life, we will take another body to actually satisfy that desire. So we have to understand that. And here, Krishna is explaining, okay. So here, Krishna is explaining, can you see my screen? Did I stop sharing? 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So here Krishna is explaining how transcending the modes. How can we transcend the modes? What is his behavior? So his behavior is, he is steady in all circumstances. Okay. Whether someone praises him, whether someone blames him, honor or dishonor, happiness or distress, desirable or undesirable, in all situations, he will be steady. So if someone praises him, he won't feel elated or feel proud about that. If someone actually blames him, he doesn't even feel bad. So he will be equipoised, steady in that situation. And he deals equally with everyone and everything. So we already discussed, right? Seeing with equal vision. And then he never acts whimsically, because he will surrender completely to Krishna, and he will be determined in his spiritual practice and spiritual devotion. He basically does Bhakti Yoga, keeping Krishna in the center of everything. Whatever activities he performs, he will have Krishna in the center. So for example, we all are offering food to Krishna every day, right? So we are actually purifying ourselves by eating that prasadam. So whatever work we do, we are actually keeping Krishna in the center. So that is how the behavior of these particular people who actually transcend beyond these three modes, that is Gunatita, will be. Okay. So I think we have a final verse here. Who wants to read it?
Mam cha vyabhichareణ bhakti yogena sevate swagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Very good. So to actually transcend these three modes, we have to rise above these three modes, means we have to do Bhakti Yoga. So when we are doing Bhakti Yoga, what we are doing? We are keeping Krishna in the center of everything. So when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what we are doing? We are chanting Krishna's name. We are chanting for the pleasure of Krishna. So we have to do Bhakti Yoga not to satisfy us, not to have sense gratification. We should not do Bhakti Yoga to actually fulfill our desires. Not go and worship to Krishna saying that Krishna, I have to get 90% in this exam. Krishna, give me that car. Krishna, give me that big house. No, we should not be asking about unlimited desires for our sense gratification. So we have to work for the pleasure of Krishna, keeping in the center everything. So see, some people might ask, okay, why is that we should not ask for a house? So we should not ask for a house, but then if we have the desire to have for a house, saying that, okay, I actually perform satsangs regularly, but my hall is so small. So I wanted to have a bigger house than this, so that I'll have a big hall and I can accommodate people like 50 people or 100 people for my satsang. That is a good desire. And because Paramatma is there within us, he will actually hear to our desire and he will fulfill that. But we should not ask desires for our sense gratification. We should not do bhakti for the sake of our sense gratification. So that is the conclusion which Krishna gave on how to transcend this particular modes of material nature. So there is one more, the last one.
Hare Krishna ji.
Hare Krishna. Anand.
Yeah, so the attendance link is posted in the chat. Please mark
Okay.
here.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So who wants to read this? Yeah, Harshini wanted to read.
Life lesson 6. Modes tie us. Krishna unties us. Modes are captivating. Krishna is liberating.
Very good. So this is an amazing life lesson again. These modes of material nature will actually tie us to this material nature. So they get entangled us to this material nature. So we already discussed about the miseries. What are the miseries we have? We already discussed about the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. So Krishna will untie us from all these and he will actually take us back to Goloka. Okay, but these modes are very captivating. So if we get entangled and if we don't understand that lower mode is acting on us, if we don't realize that, this mode actually will bind us basically to this material nature. So modes are captivating and Krishna is liberating. So I think that is the end of this particular chapter. Now we will discuss about a quick overview of what we have learned. So in the first section, we learned about these modes, what are the modes we have, what are the types and which mode we are in. So recognizing the mode supremacy, in the second section, we talked about when a person who is in the mode of goodness, he'll have a lot of clarity. The person who is in mode of passion will have anxiety, and the person who is in mode of ignorance will be in delusion. And the third section, here Krishna describes about what is the destination of people in a particular mode when they die. So a person in goodness, he will actually go to heavenly planets. And a person in ignorance, he will go to hellish planets. Person in passion, he actually goes to earthly planets. But I have already told you that in any of these 14 planets, whichever we are, we have to take birth again. So that is why Krishna is saying that in the last section, Krishna is saying that we have to become a Gunatita. We have to try to transcend beyond the three modes. That is Shuddha Sattva. So how can we transcend beyond these three modes by doing bhakti yoga. So here Krishna explained what are the symptoms of people who actually, when they are beyond this guna. That is what Krishna was explaining. What is the behavior? What is the symptom of these people and what we have to do? So the final verse which talks about doing bhakti yoga, keeping Krishna in the center of everything, whatever we do in our day-to-day life, that will transcend us beyond this modes of material nature. So that is the end of this particular chapter. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Grandraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.